What is up, everyone? Chris the Dice Degen here. Welcome back to Daily Fantasy Domination on Casino Gaming TV. Welcome to Week 14 of the NFL season. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope your fantasy teams are doing well. And I hope you guys did well in Daily Fantasy last week. As per usual, guys, we're going to bring you the recap of last week, some key injuries that I'm taking a look at, matchups that I'm looking to exploit, my analysis on certain players, and finally I'll give you guys some picks that I'm looking at now. Again, it is Thursday right now. As always, on Sunday morning, I will post my rankings in the Discord and also on Instagram. So since we're speaking of that, flip over to this screen here. All right, Discord is linked down below, DFS Domination. If you're looking to DM me specifically, it's Dice Degen Chris. That is my Craps YouTube channel, and that's what I go by in Discord. So there it is for you. All right, Instagram, Daily Fantasy Domination. If you like Twitter better, same handle, Daily Fantasy Domination. If you want to email me a question you may have, dicedegen@gmail.com. All right. That's really it with the contact. All right. You guys should know how to contact me by now. And always here to answer questions. If you want to ask about a specific player, if you want to ask about a player versus player matchup for your regular fantasy, if you want me to tell you if my model likes a certain player, I may not mention them on the show, but if the model likes somebody or you want to compare two different players with the model, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to help. So again, DM me, email me, put it in the DFS chat room in Discord. Up to you how you want to contact, but do it. All right, let's do it. All right, so recap from last week. All right, QBs that I went over that I liked. Herbert finished 9th overall last week. Lawrence got injured. He finished 16th overall, but again, he did get injured partway through that game. He did come back, but not great. Jalen Hurts balled out. All right, AJ Brown balled out too. I was at the game. The link was absolutely lit. So Jalen Hurts first overall last week. Joe Burrow came in second overall in terms of fantasy points for quarterback. So good picks there with Hurts and Burrow. Hopefully you guys took them. I didn't listen to myself, and I took Lawrence in a lot of lineups. I had Hurts in a couple, but Lawrence to get the salary relief and did not pay off. But the Hurts lineups did well for me. Garoppolo, again, he got injured as well. He finished 31st. And Patty Mahomes came in 6th in terms of quarterbacks last week, but Hurts and Burrow 1 and 2, always good to see. 1 and 2 on the listing there. In terms of running backs, it was a tough week for the running back position. A lot of the big name guys didn't do much, with the exception of Josh Jacobs. He came in 3rd in running back fantasy points overall. Chubb didn't have a great week. Deshaun Watson looked pitiful. I know it's his first week back. I told you guys to be wary of him. He didn't look good. The Browns didn't look good at all. But Chubb finished 27th overall. Aaron Jones didn't do much of anything. A.J. Dillon had a good week. He finished 5th, but Aaron Jones didn't do much of anything. Eckler didn't do much. Pierce and Etienne, they were all pretty bad last week. So, sometimes we have those weeks where, you wrong read. They're in a good game script and they just don't perform, right? Nick Chubb had an excellent matchup against that Houston Texans defense, the worst run defense in the league. Didn't do much, right? Aaron Jones, again, great game script. Nothing happened. So it is what it is. Sometimes you just have them. It is what it is. Wide receivers, Jamar Chase, not a great week, first week back, but look for him to bounce back in the next couple weeks here. But he finished 23rd overall. Keenan Allen came in 13th. Lockett was 6th overall. A.J. Brown, 2nd overall. All right, like I told you, revenge game. That was the revenge game that I was looking to actually exploit. All right, there was a couple revenge games last week, but I told you if you're taking any revenge game, it's A.J. Brown, 2nd overall in receivers. Christian Kirk was 19th, not a bad week from him. And then Pickens. Pickens threw a little hissy fit on the sideline. I don't know if you guys saw that. He's not getting targeted. He's not getting looked at. I don't know what Pickett is doing. George Pickens is off my list because of that little tantrum he threw. He looked like a 3rd grade girl throwing a tantrum when, the boy she likes gets asked out by some other girl. Like, it was disaster. I think he had like 1 catch for 2 yards or something. Terrible week from him, but it is what it is. And finally, tight ends. Kittle, with Garoppolo going down, Kittle didn't do much of anything. He ran a lot of routes, but just they weren't looking to him. He finished 26th. Kelsey finished 15th. Njoku, I don't even know if he was on the field. But again, Deshaun Watson had a terrible week, so it happens. Foster Moreau, 18th. Pratt Fryermuth was the best pick at 8th. And then Hayden Hurst did nothing. He also got injured, though, so that did not help us out. But some tough picks last week. I'll give you that. They were not great. However, some solid lineups were made if you took some of the guys that I did mention on the show. I put one lineup in there. I was 4.4 points away from a 5-figure payout on using all guys that I mentioned on the show. So the rankings are one thing. Just make sure you pay attention to some of the guys that I do mention on the show. All right, so I would rewatch this Sunday morning and make sure you really have an eye on who I am talking about and why I'm talking about them. Just because I put the rankings out there doesn't mean those are the exact guys I'm looking to target, because, for example, you can't take a Jalen Hurts, a Nick Chubb, a Jamar Chase, and a George Kittle on the same team. All right, so pay attention to some of the guys that I'm mentioning. Like I said, last week, 4.4 points away from a 5-figure payout. I did have a multi-$100 payout, which was nice, but I really wanted that 5-figure payout. I was close. I was very close, but it is what it is. All right, guys, that's our recap, right? Let's talk about the matchups for this week. There's some interesting matchups this week. Here are your main slate games. The Miami Chargers game is not a main slate game. It's on there anyway, but you have the Jets at Buffalo, Cleveland and Cincinnati, Houston and Dallas, Minnesota at Detroit, Philly at the Giants, Baltimore at Pittsburgh, Jacksonville at Tennessee, Kansas City and Denver, Tampa Bay in San Francisco, and then Carolina at Seattle. So, quickly to go over some of the lines that I'm looking to, take advantage of. The Minnesota-Detroit game is the highest total on the board by 5 points. All right, their over-unders at 51.5 points. We're looking to exploit that, right? We see the high over. That means a lot of points. We're looking to go there. The other high overs are Cleveland and Cincinnati at 46.5, and then there's 3 games at 44.5. All right, that's Philly and the Giants, Dallas and Houston, and Seattle and Carolina. Final comment on the Vegas lines. As you guys know, they're built into the model, but Dallas is a 17.5 point favorite at home against the Texans. All right, so be careful with that, and I will tell you why in a minute. And quickly, weather. All right, this week, since we're getting down to the winter time frame here, you do have to keep an eye on weather in a lot of these situations. So in Buffalo, for the Jets-Buffalo game, they are calling for rain with a possibility of snow, so keep an eye on that, and we'll see what the weather does there. The Giants-Eagles game, they're calling for rain, so we know in the rain, the run game dominates, so be mindful of that. Bucks and 49ers, there's potential for heavy rain and wind. I feel like a meteorologist here, not a fantasy football guy, but if you want to be complete and well-rounded in your picks, you gotta factor in the weather. All right, so Bucks and 49ers, again, heavy rain potentially and winds. Same thing for the Seattle-Carolina game. There's a potential for heavy rain and high winds. So keep that in mind if you are looking to take a bunch of those players this week, that the weather may not be great. And teams on a bye this week are Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, Indianapolis, New Orleans, and Washington. All right, so injuries that I'm watching, all right? Lamar Jackson is one that I'm keeping a close eye on. He's expected to miss with a knee injury. All the reports right now are indicating that he will miss, so do keep an eye on that. But if he does miss, you will see who I like and why I like them. Trevor Lawrence with a toe. I don't really care if Trevor Lawrence misses because I don't want Trevor Lawrence. The thing that I do care about if he's not there is Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Etienne. They're different players with Lawrence in there versus whoever the backup is. So keeping an eye on that. Kenneth Walker with the ankle. DJ Dallas is also questionable. So those are your 2 running backs in Seattle. So we're keeping an eye there because we may have to drop down and grab somebody like a Tony Jones or something. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Joe Mixon with the concussion. All right, he's been out for a couple weeks now. Clearly that concussion was worse than they were letting on. As someone who's had a couple of them, I can tell you that if it's bad, it's bad. But Joe Mixon, we'll see what's going on there. If he's out, Samaje Perine's been on fire as of late. Even if Joe Mixon is back, I do expect him to have a less big role that he normally does have. All right, obviously he's the bell cow back when he's healthy, but look for him and Perine to split time if he is back. Michael Carter with the ankle, he's supposed to play, but I think Salah, the coach, and a couple other guys made it pretty evident that Zonovan Knight is looking to take over that backfield, so we'll keep an eye on that. Najee Harris with the oblique injury. we'll keep an eye there. Treylon Burks got absolutely leveled in the Eagles game. So I was sitting in the end zone actually, like right on the line of the end zone, and I saw that hit, and I mean the stadium just went quiet. But we'll see what happens there. He has a concussion. I don't expect him to play, but if he does play, indications are saying he might. That would be a very quick turnaround, but we'll see what happens. Nico Collins with the foot, Brandon Cooks with the calf, two Houston wide receivers. We'll take a look there and see what's going on. And the reason why I would even consider a Houston wide receiver this week is because they're going to be in a trailing script against that Dallas team. Again, I told you 17.5-point favorites at home. Look for Dallas to jump out to a quick lead, and the Houston Texans are going to be playing catch-up all game long. So that's why we like a wide receiver for them. But we'll see if those guys play there. Right now, the indications are saying they're not expected to play, both Collins and Cook, so we're going to keep an eye there. We're also going to look at Hayden Hurst with the calf, all right, and Cameron Brate with an illness. Indications are saying they're unsure right now. We'll know by Sunday, and I'll give you some players that if they're not there, hammer. All right, hammer these guys in your lineups. So quickly, defensive rankings on the left-hand side. That is from the model. Gives you the points per team to each position. All right, red means no go, green means go, just like a traffic light. All right, red, we don't like to touch those teams against those positions, so we don't look to take players against that defense at that position. However, green, we look to exploit. So you see the green, that's who we're looking to go at. And then overall defensive rankings on the right-hand side there. And the players I like, all right? So I'm going to flip back as I normally do. We're going to flip to this screen here, and we're going to go over guys I like and why I like them. So starting off at the quarterback position, as per usual, I will just go down the list kind of here. But first, I'm going to start with the guys I really do like a lot this week. All right, my favorite quarterbacks this week, they're in green. All right, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, and Tyler Huntley. So, Kirk Cousins, playing against Detroit. Terrible, terrible defense. You guys know I look to exploit them every single week. They have that highest total on the board at 51.5. Their defense is 31st overall, 32nd in terms of the quarterback position, so they are the worst against the quarterback. Love Kirk Cousins this week. Jared Goff is the flip side of that matchup. All right, again, Minnesota's defense isn't much better. They're 30th in the league, 26th against the quarterback position. So I like either one of those quarterbacks, and I do like Tyler Huntley a lot this week. He is the backup for Lamar Jackson. Again, if Lamar Jackson does play, obviously I don't like Huntley. But if Lamar is out, I love Huntley this week. Playing against that Pittsburgh defense, 25th overall, 24th against the quarterbacks. And he has a nice rush upside, just like Lamar does. So Huntley has that rush upside for you as well. A couple other guys I'm going to mention. These are plays you could have. I'm really not looking to buy up at quarterback this week. It's a tough slate. Not a lot of good games this week, I'll be honest with you. And the good players are in tough matchups for the most part. So I'm not really looking to buy up at the quarterback position. I'm looking to spend down a bit if I can at quarterback this week. Again, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, and Tyler Huntley, great options for that. Josh Allen, he's playing against the Jets, 5th overall defense, 8th against quarterbacks. Again, the weather also factors into why I don't love him so much this week. Will he have a good week? Of course. It's Josh Allen, right? Same thing with Jalen Hurts. Same thing with Patty Mahomes. They're gonna have good weeks. Okay, they're not gonna go out there and absolutely lay an egg. But at that price point, I don't see a ton of value in taking them. All right, Jalen Hurts against the Giants defense, 15th overall, so middle of the pack, 9th against quarterback position. Again, same thing. He's going to have a good week, but I don't see a ton of value there. I'd rather spend down and get a guy a little bit cheaper, and then I can load up in other positions. Patty Mahomes playing against Denver, 2nd overall defense, 3rd against quarterbacks. He's got a tough matchup this week. Again, they're going to have a pretty good week. He's going to put up points, but the only thing is Denver's offense can't put up points. So if the Chiefs get up early and a little bit quickly, look for them to just run the ball. They don't have a great run game, but they're going to run the ball. Joe Burrow against Cleveland, 20th overall defense. So they're bottom tier, but they're 10th against quarterbacks. So I do not love him this week. Dak Prescott, again, I like Dak Prescott against the Texans. The problem there is they're going to be up pretty quickly against an atrocious Houston Texans defense. who will then just run the ball. So Zeke and Pollard are going to be good this week. I don't know if Dak will be, just because I see them going up quickly. If Dak doesn't put up a good amount of points in the first quarter and like halfway through the second quarter, you're going to be in trouble if you take him, because the run game will take over. I expect them to be up at least 10 to 17 points by halftime. They might be up 21 at the half. So don't look for Dak Prescott to have a massive second half because of that. They're going to be looking to run the ball, drain the clock, all that good stuff. So again, top quarterbacks this week for me are Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, and Tyler Huntley. Running back position. All right, interesting spots at running back position. Derrick Henry had a pretty bad week last week. I didn't mind it because I was there watching and rooting for my Eagles. But Derrick Henry's in a good spot this week against Jacksonville, 22nd overall defense, 22nd against the running back. So Derrick Henry's in a good spot. He is expensive, but he is in a good spot this week. Tony Pollard's in a great spot, like I said. So is Zeke. You could honestly stack them up if you really wanted to. Hopefully their backfield has a good week. If they don't, you're going to be suffering a bit. But they're in a tough spot this week with who you want to play. I like Pollard personally over Zeke. You guys can pick who you want, but I like Pollard better. Houston's defense, 14th overall, 32nd against the run. Again, terrible run defense, so Pollard and Zeke are absolute hammers this week. And Jamal Williams, I like him a lot this week as well. Swift is back, but Jamal Williams is getting he didn't have the larger percentage of touches in the backfield last week, but he did more with his touches. Look for them to split the backfield, but the goal line equity for Jamal Williams is a lot higher than it is for DeAndre Swift. All right, they're putting Jamal Williams in red zones all the time, so I like Jamal Williams this week against Minnesota. Again, 20th defense against the running backs, 30th overall. Good matchup for him. Who else? Christian McCaffrey. I like him this week against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has a pretty good defense, 10th overall, third against the running back with a backup quarterback. I don't know how much I love him. That's why I have him in yellow and not in green. If I'm going to be spending that kind of money, I'm going to take a Derrick Henry over him. Saquon Barkley, same situation, right? Going against the Eagles defense. You saw him shut down Henry last week. Will they shut down Barkley this week? It remains to be seen. They're 17th overall against the running backs. They do have the third best defense in the NFL. So going to be a tough matchup for Saquon, but especially if it's raining, they're going to run the ball quite a bit. So I don't expect Saquon to have a bad week, but I don't expect him to have a great week either. Samaje Perine, he is highlighted there because if Mixon is out, I love Perine this week. Najee Harris is another one. He has that oblique injury. He could be in a good game script, though, against who the heck is Pittsburgh playing? They're playing against Baltimore. I don't love targeting Baltimore's defense, but Najee Harris could be good there. Pickett, I have no clue what he's doing in the back in the pocket there. He looks terrible. He looks really, really bad. Pickens is obviously frustrated with him, so Harris could be a good play there. I don't love him so much. I love these guys down here a little bit more. All right, so let's talk about them. Zonovan Knight for the Jets. All right, playing against Buffalo, who has a good defense, but Zonovan Knight has been looking good. He's been trending upward, so I like him this week. DJ Dallas, if Kenneth Walker's out, DJ Dallas could be a good play. And if DJ Dallas is also out, then the guy below him highlighted, Tony Jones Jr., he would be your play. He would be the lead back, third back in the Seattle backfield there, but he would be your lead back. Getting a lead back at 5,500 on FanDuel, 4,800 on DK, that's a steal. All right, so especially with the weather, could be bad. Look for the Seattle running back to be a good play this week. Again, Kenneth Walker, DJ Dallas, Tony Jones Jr. We'll see again who's out. Kenneth Walker, I'm not sure if he will play. If not, DJ Dallas. If DJ Dallas is out, we're going Tony Jones Jr. And then another guy that I like a lot this week against the Jets defense. Jets defense is good, but James Cook he's been cooking. All right, he's been having a lot of meaningful touches. And he's been doing well. I think he's going to be out snapping Singletary by the end of the season, if you ask me. Singletary's in there on first and second down a lot of the time. Third down, though, James Cook comes in, and I like James Cook a lot. So this week he could be a cheap play for you if you need some salary relief and you're looking for a running back. Because, again, the weather there's a potential to have to run the ball a ton. So James Cook could be a good play, and I think that's the lowest. Yeah, that's the lowest guy I have on there. Let's go to the wide receiver position. All right, this week No surprise, I love Justin Jefferson this week. All right, again, it's that high total game, Detroit, Minnesota. Detroit, 31st defense in the league, so second worst, 28th against the running backs or against wide receivers. So we love Justin Jefferson this week. He's expensive, but I love him this week. So look for me to spend up at wide receiver and drop down a bit on like the quarterback position and the running back position a little bit. Not a ton on running backs, but the quarterbacks I already told you who I like. Justin Jefferson's going to be a stud this week. Another guy I love this week is Amon-Ra St. Brown against the same thing, flip side, right? Against Minnesota, 30th overall defense, 30th against wide receivers. So Amon-Ra is going to have a good week this week. Christian Kirk, this is solely based on if Trevor Lawrence plays. If Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, I hate all the Jaguars players this week. But if Trevor Lawrence is in, Christian Kirk against Tennessee, right, you guys saw what A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith did. Now, I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is in any worldly class with Jalen Hurts, but their secondary is pretty bad in Tennessee, all right? So, well, their stats indicate that, right? They're the worst defense in the league against wide receivers. So, Christian Kirk, I like him. I also like Zay Jones. He'll be down a bit, but it's the same situation, right? If you don't have the money to grab Kirk, Zay Jones could be a good pick for you this week based on that matchup. So I do like him. Garrett Wilson, I like him this week as well, especially if the Jets go down. They're looking at a trailing script there. Look for Mike White to be passing the ball a ton. Garrett Wilson's been having good weeks left and right. Buffalo's defense is 6th overall, and they are 22nd against wide receivers, so he's in a good spot this week. Going over some of the other guys here in yellow, Stephon Diggs, I don't love him this week. All right, he's got a tough matchup. He is going to be against Sauce Gardner most likely. Obviously, Justin Jefferson had a good week against him last week. Don't expect that too many times in a row. Also, the weather there, right? The weather, I already told you, potential for rain and snow. Going to make passing the ball tough. Diggs, I don't love him this week. If you're going to take a Buffalo receiver, I would pick Gabe Davis over Stephon Diggs, but up to you what you guys want to do. A.J. Brown against the Giants. Interesting matchup there. 15th overall defense, 8th against wide receivers. But A.J. Brown's just a beast, and he's been balling out. CeeDee Lamb is another interesting pick. Again, the reason why he's in yellow is I don't expect them to be trailing at all. I don't expect him to get a ton of targets after that second quarter, basically. Once at halftime, like I said, the Dallas is going to be up a ton. Look for them to run the ball. He will get a couple targets here and there, but it's not a great game script for him. So do pay attention to that. Tyler Lockett against Carolina, the middle of the pack defense, 19th against wide receiver, so he's a decent pick. Devonta Smith, same thing as A.J. Brown. A little bit of salary relief there, so if you want to go there. And some interesting plays I have for you down here. All right. So I told you Treylon Burks has a concussion. I don't know if he's back. If he is back, he could be a good play this week. I already mentioned Zay Jones. Nico Collins, right? Not expected to play against Dallas. Why is that important? Well, because if he's not expected to play, and Brandon Cooks isn't expected to play, we're going to be scrolling all the way down. All right, I'm going to the depths of the lineup chart here. Chris Moore, and even farther down, Philip Dorsett. All right, these guys could potentially be, you can't even see Dorsett. There he is. All the way down there at the bottom. Could be potentially very cheap options. Not saying they're great wide receivers, but their Texans are going to have to pass the ball at some point. So those two guys, if Cook and Collins are out, look for Dorsett and Chris Moore to potentially get in the game and have great weeks this week for their price tag. All right, I'm not saying they're going to be the wide receiver one this week. What I will say though is that for that price tag, 5.3 on FanDuel is basically like somebody who doesn't play, right? Same thing on DraftKings at 3,400. Those guys barely play. They barely get in the game. They get in the game maybe a target or two a game. So you could potentially get a very good value for those guys this week. So again, watch the injury news. Jameson Williams is interesting against the Minnesota Vikings. Detroit wide receiver. He hasn't done a ton this season, but he's trending in the right direction. So I do like him this week. Again, same stats for Amon-Ra as it is for Jameson Williams, 30th overall in both categories. So He could have a good week this week. And then Devin Duvernay with that Tyler Huntley stack, if you want to stack him, could be a good option there as well. I don't love the Baltimore wide receivers, but especially with Mark Andrews back, but he could be a cheap option this week if you're looking for one. Tight ends. So, Travis Kelce, obviously the number one tight end on the board this week. I don't hate him. I don't love him, though. He's on my list, but tough price tag to get there. I'm looking to take a Justin Jefferson and maybe some top running back. So I'm not going to be spending up at the tight end position. TJ Hawkinson is one of my favorites, and that will change with injury news. All right, TJ Hawkinson on Thursday is my favorite. However, that will change. He has a good game script against Detroit, right? That's a revenge game for him. 31st overall defense, 29th against the tight ends. So great matchup there. I do love TJ Hawkinson this week. Freiermuth, like him a lot against Baltimore. They're middle of the pack defense, middle of the pack against tight ends, so he could have a good week. Dalton Schultz, same thing. He has the same problem, though, as like a CD Lamb does with that leading game script. It could be a tough week for him, but he probably will have a decent week. Tyler Conklin's an interesting pick this week if you're looking for like a mid-tier type tight end. However, these are the two guys I really want to focus in on. All right, these are the two guys, Cade Otton and Mitchell Wilcox. Probably asking me who the hell is Mitchell Wilcox. Well, don't worry. All right, you guys are here because Degen does all the research for you. Right, you don't have to do the research. Degen actually knows who Mitchell Wilson is, or Mitchell Wilcox. I can't even say his name, but I know he is. He went to South Florida. All right, did well at South Florida. He is the Cleveland. All right, he's playing against Cleveland. He is Cincinnati's backup tight end. All right, Hayden Hurst, if he's out, Mitchell Wilcox at that price is going to be an absolute lock in all of my lineups this week. Why? Because of the value, right? He's super cheap on both platforms, and he has huge upside this week. Again, if Hayden Hurst is out. Same thing with Cade Otton, all right? Tom Brady's been looking to him a lot. If Brate is out with that illness, look for Otton to have a good week this week as well. You guys know Tom Brady loves his tight ends, so Otton could be a good pick this week. But with injury news, we will find out. Right now, we're going to talk about Hawkinson being my favorite, but with injury news, that may become very quickly Cade Otton and Mitchell Wilcox. And I will show you some lineups with those guys built in right now. So let's flip back and let's go over these lineups. All right, so again, not final lineups. It is only Thursday. We're still waiting on some of that injury news, but here's a pretty good lineup for you if you ask me. Kirk Cousins, Derrick Henry, James Cook, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Christian Kirk. There's my boy Wilcox, DJ Moore, and the Bucs defense. You guys know me with defense. I could care less. Obviously, we were the Browns last week. You balled out, but I'm not going to spend money at defense unless I have money left over. But I'm still looking to get somebody else in a more meaningful position, in my opinion. Just my opinion, though. Another lineup with Huntley, Pollard, Jamal Williams, Justin Jefferson, Nico Collins, again, if he plays, Zay Jones, Freiermuth, Devonta Smith, and again, the Bucs defense. So again, some options there. Just going over guys that I've mentioned, trying to build a couple lineups so you can see how they work. Obviously, you can pick and plug one of these guys in and out. There's some other guys that I mentioned in the same price range, so you can just flex them in there if you wanted to. And here, Jared Goff, Zonovan Knight, Tony Pollard, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Christian Kirk, Traylon Burks, again, if he plays, Cade Otton, Nick Chubb, and the Bucs defense. Obviously, the Bucs defense was in all three picks there because they're cheap, very cheap, and they have a decent matchup against San Francisco, especially with the backup quarterback. So I do like them this week. Another one with Huntley, Derrick Henry, James Cook, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devin Duvernay, Garrett Wilson, Mitchell Wilcox, Stephon Diggs, and Jacksonville. Now, this might be my favorite lineup I put together. I tried to put it together on DraftKings, and I can't because of the pricing. But on FanDuel, this is a banger of a lineup, if you ask me. And I'm really looking to exploit this one if I can. If you want, right? If you don't like Devin Duvernay in there, and I told you I don't love Diggs, he's an option, but I don't love him. You could take the price tags of those two guys and get two mid-range wide receivers there, or a mid-range wide receiver and another running back. So interesting lineup here, though. This is one of the ones that I did like a lot when I created it. I do also like this one with Kirk Cousins, Tony Pollard, James Cook, Justin Jefferson, Zay Jones, Garrett Wilson, Mitchell Wilcox, DK Metcalf and the Carolina Panthers. Again, I do like the other one that I created a little bit better for FanDuel. But there's 2 options on FanDuel, 3 options on DraftKings, so you guys can do what you want with that. And some stacks. You guys know I give you some stacks if you're playing any tournament-type play things. So Jacksonville, if Lawrence is in, you got the Lawrence, Etienne, Kirk, and Jones stack. Kansas City, you have Mahomes, Kelsey, Moore. Dallas would be Prescott, Lamb, Pollard, or Zeke. Again, be careful with Prescott and Lamb. Minnesota, you have the Cousins, Jefferson stack with Hawkinson in there too. I didn't put him on there, but you could throw a Hawkinson in there. Detroit, you have Goff, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Williams. And then if you're playing one of those one-game things, those one-game competitions that you want to play, you could key in on that Minnesota-Detroit matchup and just take a bunch of those guys together. Again, high total. We're looking to exploit that. And finally, what's next? All right, that'll bring me to the end of my Week 14 show. What's next, guys? Week 15, we will chat again next Thursday. Basically a pregame for the Thursday night game. Tonight we have the Raiders and the Rams. I'll give you a little bonus. All right, I'll give you a little bonus. Let me log in to my account here, and I will tell you my lineup for tonight that I have entered. If you want it, you don't have to take it, but if you want it, here it is. All right, here is my lineup. MVP getting 1.5 points, Devontae Adams, and then my flex positions are Josh Jacobs, Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, and Foster Moreau. All right, those are my 5 guys tonight that I have. I have other lineups, but those are the guys that I'm playing in my main contest tonight. So a little bonus for you if you want them and you want to get in there, go for it. Good luck if you take them. Again, next show will be December 15th. That's next Thursday at 7 o'clock. Office hours, if you guys want to chat with me, let me know in Discord, and I'm more than happy to chat. Again, it's the DFS chat room. It's linked down below. Hop in there. Email, if you want to email me, dicedegen@gmail.com. Instagram, Daily Fantasy Domination. Twitter is also Daily Fantasy Domination. And guys, that is the end, Week 14. Good luck in your fantasy leagues. Pay attention to your fantasy leagues, all right? This is one of the last weeks for those season-long fantasies. And you have to pay attention to where you are. Are you making the playoffs? Are you not making the playoffs? Do you have to do something desperate to make the playoffs? So pay attention to that this week, all right? And that's it, guys. That's it. I hope you guys have a good week. Hope you have a good rest of your week. Tomorrow is Friday, TGIF. Work week is over for most of us. Tomorrow, obviously, not tonight. And I hope you guys have good luck on fantasy. I hope you have good luck on your DFS. And I will see you guys in the next show. Peace.